Good morning, everyone. Hope you can
Hello.
hear and see us clearly. Please let us know if you can, if you cannot. If you cannot, I'm sure you'll tell me. But if you can, let me know.
All of them line up there
Oh,
like
they're
soldiers
in
this
the
morning.
house today. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
James Dixon's in the house. He, of
Oh,
course, he
Lord.
he always logs on about 7:30 in the morning. He's a very,
Mm-hmm.
very early bird. Good morning, James, and good morning to you, brother Sissy, and brother Cara, my sissy. And then there's Vern. Yeah. It's good to have you guys in here with us this morning. Good morning, Vern. I love you, darling. And then there's Miss Pearl. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? And then there's Dee Dee and George. Dee Dee and George, thank you so much for giving us a love offering for lunch today. Thank you.
That was good.
And we're
I
praying
appreciate
with
that.
you, George, about your sister and keeping her in prayer. Everyone keep George and Dee Dee in prayer. He's going to see his sister today who's in the hospital. And then there's Tanita. Hey, sweetheart. Tell your mommy hello. And hey, Sandra and Majori. Hey, sweetheart. John Greason's in the
Dr.
house.
John,
And then there's Deb. Hey, Deb.
Debbie.
Pastor Norman is in the house.
Oh,
Hey, Pastor Norman, I know you're going to preach something good today. And then my
Pastor
sweetheart
Gerald.
Judy Jew is here today.
Gerald and Judy. That there, but
Glad you're with
Gerald.
us
Oh,
today,
Gerald,
Judy.
Gerald.
And Gerald, I hope you're doing well. I
Yeah,
hope you're
the
doing
picture look
well.
good.
The picture looks good, yeah. Hope you're doing well, Gerald. I know you've been having some health challenges, and I pray that you get
That's
better.
Miss Leslie
And there's Brother Kessler. Good morning,
Kessler.
Brother Kessler.
Okay.
Leslie's here.
The
Hey,
bus driver.
Leslie.
That's the bus
You
driver.
and Dad and your sister and all
Jones.
of you. It's good to have you here. Valerie, good morning to you, sweetheart.
There's
Good
Dr. Blue.
morning. And there's Brother Blue and the family.
Oliver J.
Ollie's in the house. Ollie and Yo Yo. Hey, good morning to you guys. Enjoyed your session on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. That mastermind was very, very good. What little I got was good. I got to go back and watch the replay. Yeah, you guys should listen to Oliver and Yo Yo. They're good. They're good. Truly Live. That's their handle. And look for them. Go to them. They're good. And Jill, good morning, sweetheart.
Good
Good
morning.
morning to you and Phyllis and Edward. Been thinking a lot about you guys, Phyllis and Edward. Kim, you go for your procedure on the 4th. Is that right? Let me know. I'm thinking I got it right. Let me know. We'll be praying with Kim for a good report from the doctors and for her scans and screens and all of that. We're praying for her health and want to make sure she gets a good report. We believe in God with you. Yeah, Jill said she enjoyed the workshop with the blues on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. And you guys would do well to avail yourselves of their session. They have good sessions. Anyway, you okay this morning? I know you're a little sleepy and
Yeah, a
a
little
little
bit.
groggy and
Mm-hmm.
back kind of acting crazy this morning. Acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Acting. Let's do our prayer, affirmation, meditation, whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to ring that bell today too. I'm gonna ring that bell. You gonna ring it today?
Here come.
Before he does it, I had a reason for wanting him to ring the bell this morning. Met a young lady in Target the last couple of weeks ago, and she said she was watching us and saw the episode where he rang the bell, and she said she got healed when she
Mm.
heard the bell.
The bell.
So I
Bells
want
will
you to
be
go ahead and ring the
ringing
bell, and then we'll do the meditation. Okay.
before Christmas Day.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ring the bell.
Oh, watch it. We hit it again. That's a good bell.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. It goes. It's still going. It vibrates. You can feel the vibration of it. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Francis.
Okay.
Uh,
Look at a bunch of them.
this particular lesson 189 came from the Course in Miracles, which says simply do this. And this, I think, is a very good way to prepare yourself for surrender. Is that unplugged, honey? Unplug the phone. Unplug it. Yes. This is a good way to center yourself before we even do meditation. Or so here we go. It's okay, babe. It's okay. Yeah. Here we go. And you don't have to repeat this after me. You can simply just listen, and then I'll have one for you to repeat in just a moment. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you have learned about the world. All images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with wholly empty hands unto your God. Now you repeat this after me if you would. I relinquish ownership of this body. I relinquish ownership of this mind. I relinquish ownership of this life. I return to you what has always been yours. I give up the right to claim anything as my own. I surrender all self-identities and mental belief systems. I surrender to what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. I embrace everything as my lesson. I accept that I am here in this body. I now turn to the God presence within. There I find peace. There I find purpose. There I find joy. There I find contentment. There I find fulfillment. And so it is. And so it is.
Okay.
You keep hearing a buzz.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's my phone.
Okay,
So it's
yeah,
okay.
that's what it is.
It's okay. Yeah. But everything's okay on you guys' end, hopefully. Oliver says, ring my bell, ring my bell, ring my bell.
Boy,
And he will keep ringing it if you say that.
I hit it. Watch it. Let it ring.
A little hard, a little hard.
It go all through your motor scooter. That's it. 3 times. Knock a home run every time. Don't take but one bang.
The reason, and for those of you who didn't hear earlier, I wanted them to ring the bell this morning because I met a young lady a couple of weeks ago who had watched one of our sessions, and where he rang the bell, And I hope it wasn't the one where you put the bell on your head. But
Uh-oh.
anyway,
I
she
did?
said she got healed when she heard the bell.
Wow, I need
Yeah.
to put one on my head now. Yeah, wake me
It
up.
might wake you up. He's a little groggy this morning, guys, and
Ring my
having some
bell.
pain. So stretch your hand this way and pray for this young man.
Mm.
But he's a little bit off the chain this morning because he's trying to keep himself awake. Hello, David Singleton. Hey,
David,
Sister Chris.
just great. Look at it. Now, I'm gonna get this out here before we get started. And I ain't gonna say no more about it now. I'm just say it one time, then we're gonna go on with the roll. What would it be like if you guys could send each individual, and numbers the ones that we own at, $100 a piece to help keep us going? That would be tremendous. I'm through. That's it.
Okay.
Don't have to go into a whole lot of heap of entourage and just like that. $100 a piece for each one. That's
Okay.
a bunch of them on there.
Okay.
And I thank you before you do it. Okay, now
All
that's
right.
it.
So
What you got?
I'm gonna say Lori said she feels the healing too.
Oh, gracious day.
Yeah.
Shake my hand, girl, because we on the same track.
Yeah. You asked what I have. I don't have a whole lot consciously, but I know that whatever needs to be said will be said.
Let me lay something out on before you get started. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm over here in the book now. It says this. Somebody pull a sword out and cut a high priest servant ear off.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus made a statement in 53rd.
Malchus, I think his name was.
Yeah, Malchus, the high priest servant. Over here in that chapter 26 chapter. What is it? Think about this now. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray? Now praying would be like asking or desiring to my Father. Now notice, to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels. Now, I'm going to take you over here just a little bit further. John 10. Okay. 30. Now watch this. Okay. Now listen to what he said again about the Father. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life. I have to deal with that something other subject. And they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of our hands. Okay? And right at the 30th verse, he said, and I just read, he said, the Father, I and my Father are one. Not 2, 3, or 4, but one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. And he answered, many good works have I showed you from my Father. Now look, he showed you from the Father. He said, I and the Father one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Father that was doing this through him.
Mm-hmm.
Now then he said, for which of these works do you stone me for? The Jews answered, said him, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy. Now that's blasphemy, because thou being a man, make of thyself
God.
Mm-hmm. Now watch this. When you say the Spirit of God and I are the real self, you're making the same statement. Watch it. Here's the hook, the mystical side of it. When Jesus said that, that was you, us. Somebody said, well, I went back there. if you say that, you're thinking of yourself being physical. And we love to worship the physical world because it is the physical world that we have good days, bad days, and still emotion. But feeling, operation, surgery, glasses, and all that, that's the physical. But Jesus has stepped out of the physical into spirit. And these people couldn't catch on to it because they were under the curse of the law, and that's not bad, I'm just making a statement that says, how can you be one and you here in your physical body? Mm-hmm. And Jesus answered him, is it not written in your law? And I said, ye are gods. Mm-hmm. And if he called them gods unto whom the word of God came, and the scriptures cannot be broken. Mm-hmm. Now, we believe everything else in the book, in the course, in all other books, but when it comes down to this, some monkey mind have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the key. Somebody asked me, a therapist asked me, said, where did you come from this idea? And I think, Brother Oliver, you asked me this a long time ago. How do you see God all the time? And then somebody said, why did he choose you? I ain't going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you this. I do see him. Yeah. Now, I was standing in front of somebody and I'm looking at him. I deliberately hit the switch. And it's become so realistic, so second nature that I can actually see and hear God when he is talking through anything or anybody. Now, that don't mean, yeah, it does mean everything I said. Okay. There are some people that have told us years ago, God don't talk all the time. You got a point. If you're looking at him not talking all the time with words coming out of his mouth, no, he don't. But when I found out the truth of the law of the spirit world, mm-hmm. Jesus and every spirit being over there, my brother talked to me and my niece at his funeral and told us where to go into his bedroom to find the title to a vehicle that everybody was looking for. And he didn't use his mouth. So I asked my niece, I said, how do you know it was Joe, my brother? She said, I know his voice. But Joe didn't use his voice.
So the voice.
Watch this. Yeah. Joe, my brother's voice, if you're going to talk about voice, before he died, his esophagus voice box was removed.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
So the voice is not physical.
Thank you.
You're saying.
It does not have.
And it doesn't necessarily have words or phrases or sentences either.
And it does not have a sound, but it is a sound that vibrates to the frequency of the eternal self.
And it's in more simple terms, it's communication.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That one word that sums it all up right there.
Different forms of communication that God uses to well, I won't say God, because I think when we say the word God, we've overused it, and it conjures an image, but God is not an other.
That's right.
Somewhere else at another time in another place, and we've said that. We live in the consciousness of being a self. Mm-hmm. And that self gets up every day and goes to work, mm-hmm. and it's in time and space. Mm-hmm. It's what I want. It's what I think. It's what I need. It's what I feel. It's what I remember. It's what I like. It's what I don't like. That's the consciousness that the majority of us live in, the day-to-day consciousness. Get up, go through the day, go to bed. That's the self-consciousness, mm-hmm. that we have. Mm-hmm. That self must come to a place. I heard Yolanda say this in the session on Thursday night. She was talking about an event that she and her sisters were going through, and she wanted to go experience it differently. And in that I heard she found a way to be true to
Mhm.
herself. And I'm learning that when we're true to ourselves, living authentically, meaning I'm not living based on someone else's opinions, on either anyone's beliefs, even my own beliefs. I'm not living based on anything I've heard or read. I'm coming to truth from my own self-discoveries. And then I'm authentic. So when I live authentically, that is God manifest in the earth, because man is God manifest.
Mhm. Mhm. I remember one time we was uh, praying people. I think we were praying for people in the old church we were in, and the line was coming around all the way out to the door, and someone was coming. I think it was prayer time. Might have been offering because this lady came up, and I wasn't expecting to hear what I heard come out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking um, that she's going to answer me, and I wasn't going to hear anything to discern or to pick up. And I said, I don't think I ever seen it. I said, "Who are you?" That her mouth said, "I am envy. I am anger."
And you weren't expecting that. You were expecting her to give you a name
I was
of
talking.
what her name that she went
I
by.
thought I was directing my
I
voice.
remember that.
Yeah,
I
you
think
remember
I
that.
remember
I was
that.
directing my statement to
So
the human
yeah.
side of
So
her.
why did you bring it up?
The reason why I brought it up is I heard it said the key to this thing of the walk, let's walk, is to perceive the difference between who is physical and who is the spirit. Now, watch this. Somewhere in this mixture, 24/7, God, your eternal self, is communicating and saying something.
Yes.
But the
yes.
church say that God don't talk all the time.
Well, yeah, one with the church that we were involved with. Yes.
And most of them say God will speak His word. But I have found out that Santa Claus don't always talk about Christmas with his mouth, but his presence represents it, and it speaks. It
True.
speaks for him.
True. Yes,
I said, "Who are you?" And it said, "I am anger, envy." I say,
and that was the consciousness that self was living in. That spoke
right.
out of its
That's
mouth.
Right.
Yes.
But later on down the road, I could see when she went past me, she switched back. I could feel it.
It's
Now, whenever anybody prophesy or speak anything good to you, that's spirit. But see, most people will look. Most eyes of the finite is trained in this world to hear nothing but the sound that this dimension give off. True. There are some sounds that your eternal self produce that let me tell you this. This just came to me. Wait a minute. Let me just a second. I'm gonna quit.
No, you don't.
I saw Jamie Foxx.
You don't have to stop. I just want to acknowledge what Oliver said. He says pure communication is timeless, formless, and soundless.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx was going to made a movie about Ray Charles.
Right.
And I heard him say this morning that Ray Charles, he asked a question. Ray Charles told him that blues, you can play anything. You learn how to play blues, you know. And so they started playing. And Ray Charles, Jamie hit something that was not correct to Ray Charles. And Ray Charles asked the question, what's wrong with you? Where did that come from? You know, kind of like that, not exactly. And Jamie said he realized that Ray Charles' middle ear hearing was sharper than the hearing of a dog. It was so sharp that he could tell in detail where Jamie Foxx misplaced a sound of a key they were playing. And he said this morning, his hearing senses was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, as you go further in, every one of us go further in to our true identity awareness, your senses will be heightened.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no limit to your function in the senses of your eternal self.
Okay.
So I wanted to say that to you guys because
Mm.
uh, even though deaf people, blind people, they can hear and can see blind sight.
Well, usually when a person has a defect in one of the senses, the other senses are heightened, and
Mm-hmm.
that's usually what happens
Mm-hmm.
anyway. But yeah, that's very good. Um, I'm beginning to come to a place as well. And this is kind of off the beaten path of what you're talking about, but
Mm-hmm.
where instead of trying to rid myself of ego, um, or I should say, rid myself of that consciousness of being a separate self.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I feel like there's a need to reorient, be that self, that self that has come under conditions, but yet it's reoriented around a different center,
Mm-hmm.
where I am no longer trying to become,
Okay.
but I'm allowing myself to just be.
The ego mind is that part of us that's trying to become.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit the switch and switch back over to that is beingness or readiness, the ego automatically loses its ground because awareness, consciousness decide to go home just that quick.
Yes,
You
yes,
can leave
yes,
heaven and leave home
yes,
and go to hell in a second
yeah,
with the consciousness switching back and forth.
yes. And the place of rest is being okay with what I am and not trying to fix
Mhm.
it all the time,
I found
but
out
just being.
when I was in therapy this Friday past, tell you guys this is really something. The therapist was doing some things of stretching my legs and things, and he was really interested in since I've been going to him, he's been interested in spirituality
Mm,
and the things of
mm,
the second, third, fourth dimensions and all
mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
I told him, I said, come around, let me show you something that I used to do when I was in the brick and mortar that is similar to what you're doing. So he came around. I said, come on, let me show you something. I took my thumb. I said, now I want you to stand still. Don't move. I'm going to take my hand and put it at the point of your pelvic bone,
Mm-hmm. His
the
hip,
hip
the top
in
of his hip
front.
bones. Yes,
Now, I told him, I said, after this happened,
it's the way you used to do pelvic
yeah,
alignment
yeah,
for people to be healed in their
that
backs.
back. That's
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
When I touched him, stood there for a second, I told him, I said, deliberately do not move at all.
Mm-hmm.
The minute I touched those two bones in front, I could sense the energy of it moving through his body.
Mm.
And his body went like that. And I saw his body. I didn't do it.
Started to rotate.
It did a quick movement. It said whoo, whoo, just like that. It said whoo, whoo. And then it started moving just a little bit. I said, now that is what I found out that I could do that's similar to what you do in your occupation. Now, I didn't go into it with him too much,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know when I do go back to see him, he told me while he was working on me, he was interested in everything that I said to him about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this dimension and other dimensions.
Yeah.
And I also told him that there are some people who come over into this world. They are called earth angels, and they are. And then there's a set of light beings of angelicness that has been with us that has never left awareness of being here with us, and they can go at any second. See, in 1 second, you can be here and find out how to hit that switch, click, and be over into the invisible world, seeing based on what gate is your dominance. You can hit that and go right over into the spirit world and see what's going on in that world. And I explained to him, I said, well, if you had been in my classes years ago, I said, you would have been taught how to do this. And you can do it. But A lot of people don't do it because they're not interested in it.
Well,
But I
and
saw it.
it goes back to what I said. You are very. If I would describe you, you are a very not earthbound but earthy man
Oh yeah.
in the sense that you're very grounded. But people who listen to you don't realize that you're as grounded as you are.
Okay.
You're more human than most people,
Oh,
and
human.
yeah, in the sense that you're not really not in the clouds, even though you
No.
talk like you're in the clouds.
Mhm.
You're really not in the clouds, and so you're coming from another center.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have reoriented as a
Mhm.
man.
Mhm.
You have
Mhm.
reoriented, uh, and you're not walking around trying to think of yourself as a god, but
That's right.
you're a man, a human, but it's a center that has reoriented, and it now speaks from another place,
Mhm.
a higher dimension than this earth, even though
Mhm.
it walks on this earth. Does that make any
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying, because I think some of us have our head in the
Mhm.
clouds.
Yeah. Ungrounded. That's
We're
right.
not grounded at all. And we're floating around in this mysticism, but we don't have any substance to help us walk in this life.
There was two nurses in the room where I was being examined. You were there, and something came up about how many children do we have,
Mm,
and she
mm,
said
mm, mm,
one. I
mm.
said no, no. I said there's another one.
Yeah, I remember that.
There was another one. Now
Mhm.
this is in person, right in her face. There's another one.
Mhm.
She didn't respond to that too much because I didn't know when I asked her that question it was loaded.
Yes, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, and wasn't too long after that she left the room. And I picked up from her other assistant there that was talking to. I said, "Is she okay?" I said, "I didn't mean to be too personal. I just asked her how many children she had, and she said one." And I said, "No, there's another one.
Mhm,
There was
mhm,
another one."
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
so I said, "Let me go out here and apologize to her if I said something
And
to
when you
offend
got
her."
out there, she was broken down in tears
Oh, she
because she
said
had hidden that information and no one knew that
nobody in her
but her.
family knew that
But
she.
her.
That's right. Oh,
It
what
was
you talking about?
amazing though,
It
because it
was.
brought healing to her.
It was.
Yeah, but let me say these things that they brought up. Thank you guys for
Go ahead.
commenting. Oliver says, being myself is awareness itself, being aware of itself. This is our natural state of being. Yes. And then Pastor Norm was saying, very well said. Uh, Oliver also says, your pastor is all man and all God. And you're right. It's it's uncanny in a way, because he'll come from this place completely mystical, and then in the very next breath say something so silly to have you laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost catches you off guard, because he's playing and then he's not playing. And you're right, because he's very grounded. And so when we talk about seeing God in other people, and knowing that you yourself are God manifested in earth, we're not talking about walking in the clouds. It's not. I'll give you an example. A baby girl, when she's got something in her eyesight that she's interested in, it's like her neck is already long. It gets even longer. She stretches that head. We're not talking about walking around with your head stretched, but being very, very grounded, and knowing that this experience of being God manifest in the earth, is not an ethereal, uh, mystical experience. It is feeling very much a human being.
When somebody asks me, "How do you do this?" I would have to take you into a private sector, like what Jesus said, a stone cast further into the Garden of Gethsemane.
Well, and then you say, how do they do this? It's not a doing, it's a being, because
Yeah.
it's not. That's not something you do. That's because of the who you are, uh, and some of the things that you did to bring yourself to reorient yourself in that center. Uh, there have been very long meditative prayer practices in your life for years and years and years. Not so much the traditional way,
Mm-hmm.
not so much the traditional way of meditating, not so much the traditional way of praying. You've had your own techniques. You found your own
Yeah.
techniques that resonated with your inner being. And so because of that, you more identify with that inner being than you do anything else
Yeah.
outside. So you tend to be able to see into that world even more easier than you see in this one.
See, I didn't know.
And I'm talking about you
Mhm.
as if, you know,
I understand. Like we might not
because
marry.
I do the same thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't do it the same way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I understand very, very well.
Now listen to this. This is another mystical side of what we're seeing. The eternal self.
And I see
All
your
right.
note, the
Yeah.
eternal
So
self
I'm just taking my time with it. The eternal self,
made flesh.
the eternal self that we are and everybody on the face of this planet that call themselves a human. The eternal spirit of God's self is made our bodies spirit flesh.
Mhm.
It is what God is in as the flesh.
I like the way you wrote it. You said it differently, but I
Yeah.
like the way you wrote it. You said the eternal self made flesh is what God is as flesh.
That's right.
Now that is it. That is it.
I'm
And
letting the cat out the bag.
And I'm reminded of the scripture in when in Job when it talked about, he said, "Yet in my flesh shall I see God."
It's easy to find out who you are when you think about there's a part of you, and I don't care what book you look at, there's a part of you that cannot ever die.
Now, I need to go back and say thank you guys for your comments. Sandra says, in other words, you're well balanced. And that's true, but that doesn't mean in every area. So sometimes we can be fully awake in one area or certain areas, and other areas be completely asleep.
I told the therapist Friday, when he asked me the question, how you do it, I said, if you have 5 senses, 5 gates, and these gates run up and down, back and front in your spine. The spine is, from what I see, is the traveling agent of God's walk inside of us.
It's the portal. Yes.
It's a portal. It has import and export information.
Yes.
Each one of these gates is working to bring information to consciousness awareness. The door that Jesus is the door of all of these gates inside of us. Lord have mercy. Yes. I feel like I'm about to pop again. Lord Jesus. And here's another thing. You talk this kind of talk because you done found out something about a truth that cannot be put on paper, and you're not interested in trying to explain it, but there's something that working. When you sit down in front of a lady, a person who got hit and damaged a pelvic bone in an accident, and you stand there and you begin, just ain't said nothing. You're looking at something underneath her clothes, and her waistline is moving, and it's her pelvic bone. I ain't said it, I ain't done it. Just look, standing in the presence that God is as us, and you could see the bone moving back in place under her clothes. I don't never know when it's going to happen.
Now, I can say this, and we've been kind of doing some
glory,
our own investigation and research, whatever, because this has been weighing, this particular thing I'm about to say has been weighing on us for years. What you just mentioned was it was our norm to see miracles actually take place.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, embarking on this journey of the no self, the non-duality, and all of that has taken us away from that to a degree.
Yeah, yeah.
To a great degree.
Yeah.
So we long for that to still happen. And I'm beginning to understand why it has not. We have, whenever we, and I'm going to make sure I say it correctly. For those of us who have embarked on the journey of finding ourselves and coming to a place of non-suffering, we have had to detach from everything in order to have no suffering.
That's right.
But that detachment or non-attachment has also caused us to lose the empathy, and I won't say empathy because the empathy is still there, the energy and motivation to go after a manifestation for those who are suffering.
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we pulled away from the suffering.
Yeah.
And so it's caused us to not have
Glory.
the initiation or activation to actually remove the suffering. And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm seeing.
You know, I told somebody said that if you get into the mystical side of yourself, I told the therapist, I said, everybody in this facility are basically the same. When you learn your God identity down to earth, spirit became flesh and dwelt among us. That's the book. Again, in hospitals right now, spirit is being born into this dimension and becoming flesh inside the womb. Glory be to God. That's the part of me and you that I tell everybody that is eternal. Even though Jesus said in believing in him, he gives them the eternal life. I have been searching that statement that he made for years. If I am eternal, then he said, I'm going to give you eternal life. So that couldn't mean but one thing, that eternal spirit that we've always been can, what you call locality. In the spirit world, there are different places in the lower dimension that spirit can go to, like we in our physical body go home, town, shopping, and store. Now listen to this. You are spirit, Hamadata. You, oh glory. You are spirit manifesting in flesh.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes. But we have practiced escapism
and being nothing but physical.
And being nothing but spirit.
Well,
and for those of us who come to this like we're
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. We're built differently. All of us are built differently.
Yeah, secret.
Some of us are more emotional creatures. Ooh. Some of us are more mental creatures. And I don't know the reasons for that, but that is just the way it is. Some people process life through their feelings. Others process life through their thinking. Those who process their lives through thinking want to know how to do things. How do I do this? How do I do that? And then come up with formulas and strategies, which is nothing wrong with, but that's just another way. But then there are those who are more emotional creatures who feel before they think.
Glory.
And those people have to be moved from an intuitive heart place. Not so much how do I do it, but when do I do it?
Okay.
And do I do it?
Yeah, do it.
It comes from a different place because of their temperaments or whatever you want to call it. So and I can say for you and I, we we come from a mental place sometimes in our talking, but we're not mental creatures, the two of us. We speak more from that intuitive feeling place, and that intuitive feeling place is longing to touch people's suffering, not move away from it.
When we look at a body at the funeral home in the casket, you know what you're seeing? You're seeing what spirit was when it was in that body.
Yes.
When spirit leave that body is no longer spirit in flesh.
Yes.
But it leaves. You are so there inside these bodies.
Yes.
That even in the Bible it said the man of God had left his body, and his body was in the grave, and they threw somebody down in there where he was, and his body still had the residue energy in it of his light eternal.
So much that it heals whoever fell down. Yes.
Now come on home now. Come on, talk to us.
I want to mention what Jill said, because this is very good what she's just mentioned. She says detachment causes one to detach from their story, but other stories as well. And so that means you lose some of the motivation to move forward in the areas of healing or deliverance and things like that, because the willingness to do it isn't there. But you do have a willingness to try to get them away from their story.
That's right.
Which is totally different from what we're talking about.
I'm telling you, this thing is something.
And we're on this quest, the two of us, because we don't want to lose that ability to touch people in their physical bodies.
That's right.
We don't want to lose that ability.
What would it be like if I could take a zipper and you had one down the front and zip you open, and I call you? This is the calling of God to come out of this body. Your first calling is called to get in it, and your second call is calling to get out of it.
I'm laughing because I had this whole conversation yesterday with myself.
What?
About the calling. And I'll tell you, this may sound a little
oh Lord,
little gross, little whatever. It happened when I was contemplating how quickly, when you got to go to the bathroom, this is the thing. You say you have a calling on you, right? That's your terminology. I've got a calling.
Yeah.
That calling, as you get closer to the restroom, it gets more and it gets stronger and stronger. Have you noticed that?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's like it is no longer a calling; it becomes a drive.
Ooh.
It's driving you. So look, that's the calling to eliminate.
Yeah. The little boy said when he's back, when he get his britches down, he said, "Mama, I got a serious problem."
Exactly. So the calling turns into a drive.
Do you know that every night in sleep, a portion of your spirit identity leave the body and reassess some of the things that you did during the daytime? But sleep is, in its natural course, sleep is the ability to recharge the batteries so that when you get back to it, you're ready for the next move of God. Whoa!
Yes.
You're ready for the next move of God when you get in it, and flesh becomes spirit. Get out of it, flesh loses spirit, and wait for you as spirit to get back in it.
Now I know that to suffer is miserable.
Yeah.
But when I'm suffering, I'm more able to relate to other people.
Don't say that.
Now, come on. So when I transcend all suffering, I no longer have that capacity to relate on an emotional level, because it takes your emotions for spirit to ride on in order to release the spirit that you are to help people. It takes that.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about in the working of miracles.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about giving them a formula and a strategy that they can work out on themselves for themselves, which is a good thing. There are times when you need somebody who can get it done. And we've seen that happen when God came and intervened instantly. We've seen that. And so we know that it's possible. And if Jesus did it, who is our only example of being God-man in the Christian religion, the example of being a God-man is Jesus Christ. He did all of that and still walked in that non-dual, no separation self. So it is possible.
God, I'm telling you, this thing is something.
It's possible, and it's become a passion for us. It's become a real passion for us.
Jesus left his body at the crucifixion and burial. When he left that body, it stopped.
Yes.
Somebody else in their bodies, spirit made flesh, picked his body up, wrapped it, and put it in a tomb, being that's what he did. He wasn't in it. It's like you stepping out of your car, and your car won't run unless you turn it on and walk off and leave it. But Jesus came out. When he got back in the body, it cranked up.
Yes. Yes.
You are the crunk.
You are.
My buddy Joe said, you crunked up.
So you are the life.
You the gas
of this body.
You the energy.
And if you're the life of this body, then there should be a calling
listen to you.
For this life to be able to come out expressed to others.
Listen to you.
It should be. And what we're talking about is full embodiment of that truth of who we are.
God in the physical body is your eternal self before you find out anything in your head about Jesus being real. Your heart has always known it. So as long as you're in this body, your flesh becomes spirit.
So it's not enough for you to just personally, for yourself, transcend suffering.
That's right.
You must learn to relieve the suffering of others.
That's right.
You've got to do it. You've got to do it. Now, I don't know. We're on a soapbox. Can you tell? We're on a soapbox.
Now.
And our time is about up, sweetheart. I know you got more. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to put up here how to give and let them do that if they want to do it.
The body is what makes spirit flesh.
Yes. Yes.
The experience of the body being flesh is the same now as it was when we were inside of Jesus.
So now this is the thing. This is what I'm beginning to see.
This is something.
If I see in myself egoic tendencies, things that I don't like, why can't I just accept this is what this is?
Hey, that's
right. Be okay with
it.
Be with it. And allow yourself to be without trying to constantly fix. Because when you're trying to constantly fix this, you are so self-centered.
Yes.
You can't see anything else. You can't see anything else when you're trying to fix this all the time. So let that go and just let it be what it's going to be. Because nothing separates you from God anyway.
That's what he said.
Nothing has changed. Nothing changes your connection. Nothing changes that. So why not just be and get your mind off of yourself?
That's right.
It's not helping anybody.
That's right.
Okay. So here we got some good comments. Thank you, Jill, for putting up how to give, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And then Sissy says, just a strong desire to see others free and whole. Yes. And taking my eyes off of myself. Yes.
You'll always have a body made from spirit. You say, well, my mama carried me and I was formed in the belly like Jeremiah 1:5, before the foundation formed in the bed. But what is this that make this strange looking creature move around in somebody's stomach? What is this that causes blood and nutrition that we eat and food to go inside of somebody inside of somebody? They inside that person's body is what makes spirit move and become solid.
Now listen, Pearl, you hit it, darling. Who told us that we had to be fixed?
Ooh.
That's exactly right. Who told us that we had to be fixed? Where did that come from?
Something is getting free as we speak this, and it is you in your head. Your head. Go all the way with God.
Yes.
You are now accepting the fact that as long as you in this body, God is in it. And as long as you in this body, your body moves by you as an eternal self.
Yes.
Leave it if you want to. And it's doing it. 2,400 million people right now in the hospital. They in their body. And one day your spirit identity say, I am not any longer going to make this body spirit.
Now listen. They're coming back because Pearl stirred them all up. She said, who told us that we had to be fixed in the first place? And they're saying, thank you. And they're saying, yes, Pearl. Oliver's saying it came from the unawakened. Yes, absolutely, Pearl.
Glory be to
who
God.
Told us we had to be fixed in the first place?
Be to God. Oh, my.
Thank you. And that goes all the way back to the Genesis narrative where God asked them, who told you we're naked?
Yeah, who told
you that? You had a sermon about that years ago.
Yeah, we're talking about what Peter experienced when Jesus asked the question, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? He said, I did say I'm the Son of Man. Peter said, thou art the Christ.
Yeah. So what this means is if we can dare to accept what we are and then live with it.
You can say it.
Woo. We will then have no self-consciousness.
Your physical body gets life. You're the life of God.
My God.
You are the life of God in it.
Yeah.
And you didn't. Hey, you didn't just start.
I'm popping.
Are you popping?
I'm popping.
Oh,
I'm popping.
Somebody's calling your name.
I'm coming to myself.
Come on in here, girl. You are coming home to the home base. You just hit the ball at the first base, knocked it out of the park, run to second, third, and fourth back home.
Pearl said we taught him that back in the day. You did. You preached the whole sermon about who told you. You did. You went down the line with it. I remember that, Pearl.
How did you find out about this thing?
I'm popping.
Something had to happen, and it's happening now.
It's happening right now.
You are the manifestation spirit. Let me show you how spirit moves.
Yes.
Well, that's my body. Hush up and just listen to what we're saying. We're telling you something.
Laura says we're all coming home. That's exactly right.
Sometime we'll come to the door and knock at the house and leave it.
Judy said she love the popping.
Woo, glory.
I love it too, Judy. I do.
Spirit in my dog. When I look at her moving. Yeah, spirit in my puppy. And then all of a sudden she leave it. The body no longer is being moved by spirit.
Yes.
I don't care how much electric juice
but
you put
every
in
bit
it.
of strength you have to move this body.
Yeah.
Every bit of strength that you have to continue, even when it's suffering.
Yeah.
When it's in pain. That is God.
When me and you, body.
That is the life of God.
When me and you and body and awareness, consciousness, and Bruce said, let's hook up and do some paperwork to legalize us being in the same house, same bed. And what we're going to do when we do this, we're going to watch spirit manifest itself in two bodies. Intimately.
Sometimes makes a third body and a fourth body and a fifth body.
Look at you.
But anyway,
Ooh, this girl done been to Holy Ghost College.
I think you woke up.
I did.
You
I
did.
sure did.
Yeah.
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 I woke up 2 minutes. I woke up. I wake up
Spirit woke you up.
all the time.
Woke this body up, didn't it?
Honey, if it's anything else any better than preaching this, I don't know what it is. God must have kept it to himself. But I'm going to tell you.
And you're right, because when we do this with you guys, we're encouraged. It helps
Lorianne, you know something.
to voice this.
Hey,
it helps us to voice it.
And you know what? Coming home is not a traveling.
And I think that a lot of us who don't have the opportunity to voice it, that's why they're not popping, as we say.
That's right.
Because they don't have that opportunity to voice it.
When you say this, something is triggered inside of you.
Yeah.
You are the fragrance, the smell of God. He just said to me, he said, that's why I want y'all to bathe this body and take care of it, because I don't want to be walking around.
You must take care of this
Jesus
body.
said, yes. Our Spirit said, I don't want to be walking around as flesh stinking.
Well, not only that,
but I mean,
you have to keep this up because it's it's your vehicle.
It's your house.
Mm-hmm.
It's your transportation.
It is the temple of God.
And I'm going to tell you, some people, Jesus in is a Ford 37 Cadillac. Old time and
some of it is a hoopty. I mean, when it gets to be 75 years old, it's kind of a hoopty,
A hoopty. I thought you said a hoopty.
I didn't say that. Did not say that. But listen, we gotta go, guys. Glory. I'm going somewhere and get me some chicken. Wait a minute.
Can I say this? Please, if each one of y'all would have put $100 in that.
You said it one time,
I know it, baby.
and you said you weren't going to say it again. Now, don't change your tune.
You want me to hit this thing?
Hit the bell. Because they will give when they have it to give. I'm speaking that into existence, okay? We love you guys. We're going to take off. We'll see you again
Hold on.
What?
Hold on, just relax.
I'm relaxed. Are you going to keep ringing it?
3 times.
3 times, okay. 3 times. Go and embody that you are.
Come on home.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. We love you. We'll see you again on Tuesday night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.